Here we go. Today's show is brought to you by the truth about how to save money and time, amazingly simple business success tips. It is now an Amazon bestseller. So both of us are best-selling authors, and I'm excited to welcome Lisa Deschorme to the Best-Selling Author Club. Welcome to Talk to Me. I'm your host, Brenda Warren, the solutionist. I see things other people often miss, and today I see our best-selling author in my midst, Miss Lisa Deschorme, the 15-minute results coach. Lisa, how are you today?
I am good. I am so excited. I finally get to join you as a best-selling author. First, I had to join you as a retiree, and now I get to join you as a best-selling author.
You know, Lisa, I'm so excited today because we're talking about overcome and adapt to small business challenges. And why we're talking about that is because I had a challenge this week. My house is under renovations, which is why my background is different. I'm literally sitting in my dining room in a corner, just trying to find a space to be able to still do my show so that I can be consistent with what I said I was going to do, which is have a video released every Friday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern. Now, that has been a challenge for me some weeks, but when we started talking about the importance of being consistent and saying it's not like I do one every day, but once a week, being consistent with what I say I wanted to do with my business, my branding, and my message was really important to me to make sure I stayed on task. So we're going to go through some slides here today with the viewers and talk about how they can overcome and adapt to small business challenges. And before we start using any of the slides, Lisa, what is your thoughts on what's been going on? Because you've seen the upheaval and chaos in my life right now as it goes to small business. What are your thoughts before we start this conversation?
You know, I do. I mean, it's interesting because we often have to say it doesn't matter that you got chaos going on. You had to revamp and move a ton of stuff and interrupt your whole life, interrupt your office, interrupt your living space. And it was interesting because I was curious to see if you were still going to follow through with part of doing the work, because that's really the easiest time to not do it is as soon as somebody starts to upheave. But your entire house was upheaved.
Yes.
So you could come in.
And you know, there are some things I did have to put to the wayside, Lisa. Honestly, I had to cancel a few meetings, disappoint a few folks because this was a unplanned renovation. I've been wanting my renovation to go for 6 months, but because of the pandemic and a lot of people are getting renovations, I was put on hold and my contractor said they'd get to me when they could get to me. And what happened was Sunday night before the holiday, I got a call saying, hey, we had a cancellation. If you can get your house together, we can be there first thing Monday morning. Well, that was at 10 p.m. at night. Well, you know, I wasn't playing. And of course, I had everything ready so they could start the process because I've been waiting for this transformation for a very, very long time, which takes us to our first slide, which is called Overcome. The importance of overcoming cannot be stressed when you reach challenges in your small business. And Lisa, you know, for me, I'm always going to be starting with mindset because in order to overcome, you truly have to deal with your mindset. I had to adapt a mindset that said, whatever it took, I was going to get this house prepared so that these people can show up and get my renovation started. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, one of the great things about mindset is, and what you did was you said, what's the outcome that I'm going to get from this?
Mm-hmm.
And the priority in your life at that time, the outcome was you needed these renovations done so that your house could look the way you want it to. And so I like when we're thinking about mindset and we focus on outcome first. Then we worry about the processes that we have to take to go through it. But once we know what our passion is, that outcome piece is,
Mhm.
it's a major win for us.
And Lisa, because we always have a process, our adapt process is a 5-step way that those of you that are watching can really start to hone in on what you need to do when it's time to overcome and adapt to a small business challenge, which Lisa and I both see as opportunity. The first step in that process is you have to acknowledge you have an opportunity for improvement. There's not really much else need to be said about that other than the fact that when you are faced with a challenge, be it financial or just an employee issue, a contract or customer issue, you have to begin to see your challenges as opportunities.
And I thought it was great the way you saw the move as an opportunity, that you had to move all of this stuff, but it also gave you the opportunity to get rid of some things and move some things and donate some things. So when you think about opportunity for improvement, it's really not necessarily just about improvement of the house and your outcome. It's what other opportunities for improvement do we have? What else can we take and benefit from? If we look at things, and I am not a half glass, half full, half empty kind of person, although there are people who are, I am not one of them. But I do like seeing the opportunity in everything, because the reality is everything happens for a reason. So if we can take the opportunity for improvement and turn a bad situation into a good situation, employees is a perfect example. I can't tell you how many times I just want to throw some employees up in the air and see if I can put them on heads or tails. But
Mhm.
the opportunity for improvement is education.
Absolutely. And opportunities the way you language when you have a problem, Lisa, or as I love to refer to them as challenges, because I don't really like to use the word problem because it seems negative to me. And I'm all about being positive. So that's why I say that when you have a business challenge, it is definitely an opportunity to see the possibilities and what can happen. And once you've done that, we're going to take you right into step number 2. Step number 2 is to decide to do whatever it takes to find a solution. Getting a call at 10 p.m. at night, I was already exhausted because I'm doing, as well as you are, this Level Up program with Dr. Denise Sincere, the wellness mentor. And she's no joke, she's a taskmaster. Love you, Dr. D. However, I had already done all the things for that. My head was like just inches from the pillow. So I decided that I would just get up at old dark 30. For those who don't know what that is, military term. That was like 3 to 4 a.m. and start emptying everything, moving stuff around. And I literally, Lisa, was emptying the last cabinet when the contractors arrived. And the man said, I did not think you were going to be able to pull this off. But when you adopt a whatever it takes mentality, there is nothing that you can't do.
You're right. And the ultimate thing is the outcome has to be worth it. The mindset has to be there to take on that I'm going to find a solution no matter what it takes. If
Mm-hmm.
it's not something that you're passionate about, if it's not something that you want to do, if it's something that you haven't unlayered, then the reality is you're not going to find a solution. You're going to just take the old way and say, well, you know what? I just can't do it. You very easily could have said, oh, Dr. Denise Sincere is killing me. I'm a Marine. We're going Marine to Marine on this one. And,
Mm-hmm.
but you didn't. You said, okay, I'm going to crash. I'm going to close my eyes for a little while, and then I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it. It's all of the different ways that we find the time for the solution. If you don't have the passion to fix it, if you don't have the understanding of what the ultimate goal is, then you're not going to find that solution. But everybody can find the solution as long as they know what the outcome is and they've got the passion that they want to get it done. Because we do what we want to do.
Absolutely. With it being Face It Friday, Lisa, I must point out that a whatever it takes mentality is designed for Face It Friday, because when you have to face a thing, you have to do whatever it takes to make sure you get your desired outcome. And that's why it's real important that when you are trying to overcome and adapt, that you get to a place of, I'm going to do whatever it takes to find my solution. And once you've done that, we're going to move on to step number 3, which is avoid wasting time. Now, I know, Lisa, this is your zone of genius right here because for those of you that listen, Lisa is my accountability partner, my accountability coach. And thanks to her, I have been able to get great results in the things I want because, like Dr. D, Dr. Lisa here is a master at keeping people on task and making sure they get the results they say they want, not the results Lisa wants you to have, but the results you say you are committed to getting. Don't tell Lisa unless you're serious. Lisa?
And it really is about wasting time. You know, one of the most important things that I try to remind people about is you have to make time visible. Time is like breathing. And I think I said this last time I was on. If you think about time, it goes by so fast. We can have 5 minutes and it's like, wait a minute, where'd that 5 minutes go? Or it could be 5 minutes and it feels like it took an hour to get through whatever task it is we wanted to because we dilly dallied getting through it. Wasting time sometimes is subconscious because we aren't paying attention to what time really is. Time is energy. And when you think about it as time is energy and you really start focusing on the time, you can avoid wasting it. So a lot of times what happens is, and I do this periodically as well, and I catch myself and say, oh, I need to stop. But I'll look for those shiny objects. You know, you got to go on social media, you got to answer emails. And it's the little shiny objects that really keep me going. And I'm like, okay, I got to stop because now I realized I've just wasted time, but I made myself aware that I was wasting the time. So avoid wasting time, put items into the schedule, check your emails at different times. Don't keep that email open all day long unless you're somebody who has to respond within minutes to an email. There are some businesses like that. Most businesses are not like that. Most businesses, as long as you respond within 24 hours, people are happy. I know there are some businesses who don't respond for a week. So the reality is there's well, yeah, that's because some people don't always check their email and don't like email. So yes, that one was a dig right at Brenda. Don't send her an email unless you don't want a response. There you go. It goes into the empty zone. No, she's getting better at that. But
I'm getting better a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. But you really want to avoid wasting time by acknowledging that it's time. Had Brenda said, I'm going to take a nap and I'm going to get up whenever I get up and then clear it, she would have never made it on time.
Mm-mm.
But she knew approximately how much time it was going to take her. And then she continued, even though she had other things to do, she made sure she filled her time with things that had to be done. Instead of just saying, well, my house is a wreck because I had to move everything into different rooms so that they could paint and do all the stuff they needed to do. And she could have just said, okay, well, this day's wasted. Well, when you do that, you're acknowledging that you have made a conscious decision to waste time. And if you make a conscious decision to waste time, then waste it. Just remember, you don't get it back. You can't go back and say, oh, I need 5 minutes back so that I can do X, Y, and Z. Oh, shoot, I should have done this today, but I didn't. It's generally not because we don't have time. It's generally because other people have taken the time because we spend so much time wasting time instead of preparing our schedules and preparing ourselves to acknowledge time that we have waste time. So you can avoid wasting time just by acknowledging and recognizing time.
You know, Lisa, I think one of the things that really helped me was when you gave me permission, and I do say gave me permission to use my uh, own preference for time management skills. I know I'm a little redundant because in addition to my electronic calendar, I am tied to my paper calendar. I need the visual. I know a lot of people can do it on their apps and everything else, but it was really important for me to be able to see what's happening. And that has a lot to do with the way I'm wired and how my brain works. If it's out of sight, it truly is out of mind for me. And I wanted you to just briefly talk about the importance of people setting up their time management the way that works for them.
And that's really important because we're 1 in 33 million. If you think about how different all of us are and how we do things so differently, none of us do things the same. I don't care who you are. You could be best buddies. You could be identical twins. And I assure you, your mind thinks differently. It has to, it's nature. So you have to find what's going to work for you. For me, my time management, for me, it's an electronic calendar, and then it reminds me on my phone. I'm not necessarily a paper person, but it doesn't mean that I didn't carry a calendar for years and half the time didn't even fill it in.
Mhm.
But find what works for you. There are hundreds, actually, there are millions of different time management techniques. Whether you use a system or you go old school, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful, but you go old school and use paper. I had a client who said, Lisa, I have to write down everything that I do. So instead of doing it on a calendar, they kept a notebook and then they wrote, and then they would write on next to it, what time or what day they finished that particular task and what they had to do. That would have driven someone like me crazy because you have to keep going back to that same page to see what you haven't done. But for this person, it was the perfect time management technique for them. So
Okay.
everybody has different time management techniques, whether it's a calendar, whether it's an electronic device, whether it is making sure that you put something on your calendar and fill the entire day up with different appointments for everything.
Well, that's a great tip. And like I said, I think it's important for each person to decide what time management style works for them so that they don't waste time, which is why right now I'm not going to waste this opportunity or time to shout out the Daddy Daughter Dynamic, the Path to Healing book that is about to release. These 13 dynamic women, one of which is myself, have written their stories about their daddy daughter dynamics, their search for healing, self acceptance, forgiveness, and self love. Please keep an eye out. Go to Facebook, the Daddy Daughter Dynamic, join the group. We want to hear about your daddy daughter dynamic, what's going on in yours, and be a catalyst for the conversation on how you can heal and forgive. Daddy daughter dynamic coming soon. Lisa, when we get past time wasters and making definite decisions to find a solution and making sure that we have adapted a mindset that will be conducive to making sure that we can overcome and adapt, it's so important that we then plan for a successful outcome. Oftentimes, entrepreneurs will come across a challenge, but they're not goal setting, they're not planning for a successful outcome to ensure they get the results that they want. We just recently had the Popular to Pay seminar, and we had so many people that were there that had no type of financial plan for their businesses. To our surprise, that's why we did the training in the first place, is because we want people to start planning for successful outcomes.
And when you plan for a successful outcome, so first you have to have your ultimate goal. Let's just start with that. That's the most important thing. As Brenda knows, and as I hear Brenda a million times, I know what Brenda's end goal is with her business. You want to tell us, Brenda?
You put me on the spot. I don't even know what it is today. That's what you say, planning for a successful outcome. And I'm
Oh
like,
my
going,
God, Brenda,
go ahead.
the beach. The beach
I
house.
know. You talking about the chocolate brother with the rock hard abs and the beach and the black top and all that good stuff? Yes, that is my successful outcome, because when I have a business that allows me to work from anywhere in the world, so that I can be on the beach with the brother with the the chocolate brother with the rock hard abs, enjoying my best life now, no opportunity to waste, to love like there's no heartbreak. Yeah, that's my ultimate goal. So my business has to be planned in a way that's conducive to that.
Right. So when you have your ultimate goal, and I talk about her goal all the time, but when you have your ultimate goal, that's great. But that means you also have to have your goal for your other processes.
Mhm.
So you have to know what the outcome is for everything that you do. There's this process called chunking, which is really you take all of the different tasks that you need to get done and then you chunk them into different sections. So if you want to, I'll use our book as an example. So when we were writing the book, one of the things that Brenda and I did was I chunked all the different topics and said they need to be about this, which means research needs to be done in each of them. So we were able to chunk that, determine when and where we were going to put it, but we knew the outcome was not the book. The outcome was to help businesses.
Yeah.
The book was part, and it's part of the success, and there's a path to it, but the ultimate outcome, then the reason for writing the book was because we wanted to help small businesses. So when you know what your outcome is for everything that you do, then you can plan for successful outcomes. But
Right.
when you don't know what the ultimate outcome is, you got your passion, but what do you want? What's the end result for that? When you know what the end result is, then you can go ahead and take that next step for the successful outcome. Brenda is going to write another book. When she
Mhm.
writes her other book, whatever the outcome is, whatever her end result is, it's not going to be to become another best-selling author.
Mhm.
That's going to happen because it's going to be good, but her result is going to be whatever the reason she's writing that book is. And when you know that, it makes it easier to follow a process. It makes it easier to plan for success because you've got that passion. When you have that passion, you know the results. That means you know the passion, you know the reason you're doing it. Then you plan for your successful outcome.
At least I don't have my hater blockers with me today. I wish I did because I put them on because I know somebody's going to come at me about the chocolate brother with the rock hard abs again. But as Lisa was talking about the beach, I want y'all to understand why that's an outcome for me. I've already retired 2 times, once from the Marine Corps, once from the hospital. So what I'm doing now started as a hobby, which started to be morphing into a business as I made more passive income. But it was very important to me that I built my business in a way that allowed me to still enjoy my life. I'm retired. I'm not trying to work 9 to 5. I'm not trying to work every day. So my motto is that I work every other month, that I am flexible enough to be able to take my computer, my laptop, and do what I'm doing right now anywhere in the world. That would also give me the opportunity to have a real interdependent relationship with the chocolate brother with the rock hard abs so that I can still enjoy myself with my boo and still do what lights me up as I get to help entrepreneurs, veterans, and authors tell their message and live their best life now. What is now no opportunity wasted, which is why our last and final step, Lisa, is to take action. Lisa, how many times have we talked to entrepreneurs, authors, and veterans who are not taking action? I'm like, I could just scream at the number of people that are talking about what they want to do, but never step into their purpose and then live a life that's not their best life. And they come to us and wonder why we're telling them to take action.
And taking action, believe it or not, can be the hardest thing in the world for somebody to do. There are a lot of things that stop people from taking action. Sometimes it's fear, the fear of being successful. Amazingly enough, that's an honest to goodness fear. People are afraid of being successful. There's also the fear of failure, which also stops people from taking action. So we can come up with a million excuses about why we're not taking action. I personally think that sometimes the reason that we don't take action is because even though you want to start your own business and even though you're in your own business, you just get that little speed bump and it just sets you off course. And to take the action you need in order to get back on course is a problem, which is why the adapt process is perfect. Take the opportunity. When you hit that bump, when you get into that mode where you'd rather be sleeping instead of working,
Mm-hmm.
what gave you that passion to want to work? Why do you want to do what you're doing? Then decide and to do whatever it takes to find the solution. So, regardless of why, if it's fear of being successful, you know, Fear is future events already ruined.
Absolutely.
So don't ruin your events. Just take the fear and push it to the side. I realize I can say that very easily. It's easy to push fear away. It's not. Lord knows we've all had fear and we've all had trouble pushing it away. But for us, the most important thing is to realize and acknowledge the fear and take action anyway. Because, sometimes we got to do things when we're afraid. And that's one thing that we learned in the military. There have been several times in my military career where I was put into circumstances where, I'm not kidding, I was petrified. But I knew that I had to get the job done. So I went ahead and did it anyway. So when you need to take action, don't waste the time, because that's usually when, like I said, when you're sitting on the couch, you got to do things. Take action and take all your excuses. You can put all your excuses, write them down, put them on stickies, stick them on your wall, and then pull them off your wall. Each one, come up with a reason why that's a bad excuse.
Well, we're going to wrap this up and give you the adapt process so you have it. We want you to overcome by adjusting your mindset. Then we want you to acknowledge you have an opportunity for improvement. Decide to do whatever it takes to find a solution. Avoid wasting time. Plan for a successful outcome and take action. And that's why we're going to announcing to all of you again that the Take Action University, which only graduates implementers, is going to be opening early January 2023. You don't want to miss it. More to come on that later. And if you still need additional help, our book, The Truth About How to Save Money and Time, Amazing Simple Business Tips, is available for pre-order on Amazon. And the paperback is going to be available as well. We're going to have a big party on October 28th when the Kindle releases. We don't want you to miss it. We're going to have fun prizes and just do a lot about talking about how we can help you with your small business, because that's what Lisa and I are all about, making sure entrepreneurs are not only popular, but they're paid. We want to close the gap between desire and reality and help you make choices that are going to help you save money and time. Lisa, your final thoughts?
It doesn't matter what happened yesterday. Today is your day to move forward. Today is the day that you can start the rest of your life. If you've been in a bad mood, if things have happened, you know what? Don't let anybody bother you. I have a certain set of mindset, and my mindset is I don't let anybody get in my way. Mm-hmm. So focus on today and don't worry about yesterday, because you can't change it. I don't care what you do. You can't change it. And if you piss somebody off or somebody pissed you off, you know what? Be kind, make friends. They got you where you are today because every action you took brought you to where you are today. So appreciate it, move on, take action, and make sure you are successful, because you're the only one standing in your way.
Thanks, Lisa, for being here with me on this fabulous Face It Friday. And face it, there are ways that you can overcome and adapt to any small business challenge. And one of the most important things you can do is to remember the choices you make today will be the reality you live tomorrow. So choose wisely and choose to go out and purchase The Truth About How to Save Money and Time, Amazingly Simple Business Tips, because it is a reference book you want to have in your library. Have a great day, you guys, and see you next Friday. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Brenda.
Remember, everybody, be kind, be nice, and be blessed.